Well, I'll just start with my introduction. My name's J.C. Coogan, as most of you all know. Um, yeah. 2017, September the 6th, my son Caleb passed away in a three-wheeler accident. I better start reading what I got here. I've always believed in God, always. But I've also been one of those ones that Mark talked about one time in a sermon that, do you know the 10 Commandments? Do you really know God? And I fall in that category. I'm working on it though. But that day out there, when I got the phone call, I was on my way home from work. I really think he started speaking to me then, because I knew a little voice in my head said that this isn't good. And whether that was the Holy Spirit or God himself, I felt that. And I remember speeding up the road, and Megan, Neville, and Andrew were pushing their brand new baby in a stroller. And I didn't hit him, or almost hit him, but it was potential I could have, done that. And I remember when I got by him, I thought, I got to slow down, because this is, I just need to slow down. And that seemed something kind of took over me there too. Got out there that day to the accident, and he was dead. Went through every emotion from anger to just kicking and screaming and walking, and went back and stood at the foot of him. And I do remember vividly one thing that I done, and I remember I just kind of crossed my hands like that, and I looked up and I said, God, you're going to have to help me on this one, because I don't know what to do next. I don't. And if there was ever, and I've asked people, when did they find God? When did they feel that God touched them? Right then. I mean, nothing washed over me. I didn't, the sky didn't open up. But that day, and that question was the turning point. And I think I was at my lowest point, and I needed something, and man, he's been there ever since for me. I just can't. I know that in going to church, and from that day forward, Mark's preaching, it's like sometimes I'd have to look over my shoulder to see. It was like he was talking to everything that has happened in my life. On Sundays, he touches on it somehow. I mean, I told him before, I showed him a little card. We use a print shop at work, and the girls had asked me to go down and pick up some stuff that had been run off in copies. And it says, "Good morning, this is God. I will be handling all of your problems today. I will not need your help, so relax and have a God day." That was on a Friday. I picked that card up. I mean, this stuff's real, guys, because this card I picked up on a Friday, and Sunday in church, Mark's talking about the relationship between God and goodness and the Word. And I remember thinking, wow, I mean, is this how this is going to be the rest of my life? I hope so, because it's a good feeling, and feelings cannot be denied. I know, when you're having a bad day, you don't feel good. When you're having a good day, you naturally feel good, and things happen that make you feel better. My feelings are really good, and we have lost our son. Our family is closer together now. Not that I want anybody to have this kind of a loss, but if you're going to have it, you got to have good out of it, and this has been the good. I mean, the support of the community. You look at the Micah Wakeman, Evan Connor, Caleb Coogan, and our town has just kept pulling pulling together. I think that's godly. I don't know. I mean, one thing I wanted to say about was, these are strictly my opinions, guys. But I don't feel, for those of you who know me, I don't make stuff up, and I'm not one that goes around just telling any old crap. And for the last year, we've lived this, and it's the truth. I mean, it's you know, I've got down here the night that Caleb passed. Where did Garrett go? Where's Garrett? Garrett come out to the house. This is just kind of like a little father thing. Garrett come out to the house. Didn't know Garrett from Adam. I'd heard Claire talk about Garrett and his wife. Garrett sat down, and I remember one of the first things I asked Garrett was, "Do you have children?" Because in my mind, I'm thinking, how can he relate to what I've lost? He doesn't have children. But now he has been blessed with, he's going to have a child. And I don't believe we see too many miracles while we're here. But he's about to see a miracle, because I don't know how many of you are all fathers, but wouldn't you agree that that's pretty special? You go to the hospital, just the two of you, and come home three, and from day one you love that child, girl or boy, unconditionally. That's God. If God is love, and I've got that written in my notes. I'm kind of jumping around here, but when Mark says God is love, the love that I have for everyone now, I mean, I loved my daughter, my wife, my family, but now it's like I love all of you people. Sounds weird, doesn't it, George? But I'm telling you, I'll text a buddy of mine, Gary Osball, and I'll say, "Gary, I love you, man." Does that mean God's in your heart? I think so. I think he's standing right there. I mean, he's just pushing on me. My mom passed away May the 17th, 2018. A lot of people come up to me and they were just like, "Oh boy, you're taking a hard hit. You know, your family's..." Yeah, because I know when mom had been in the hospital and in the nursing home, I had played it in my mind, what am I going to do without my mother? You know, our mother is number one. And then it got to be where after Caleb passed, death isn't so bad. Because when you look at the whole big picture, and I look at the big picture, get my head wrapped around that Jesus is going to take care of me, and it's not a bad thing. So mom's quality of life had went downhill. I honestly say that I had prayed for Jesus to take her, for her to be with God. And when the time came, yeah, I was upset, and I still miss her, but she's in a better place. And it actually made me feel a little bit better that Caleb's got his nanny. I mean, does that, I don't know, I guess, does that sound right? But it's all worked together. Everything has kind of come together. So I can't, I mean, people have thrown things at me like, well, if God was so good, because in my garage, we'll get talking about a conversation on religion and God, and, excuse me, well, if God was so good, he wouldn't have taken your son and your mother. Well, I'm getting through it really good with his help, and I firmly believe that my son and my mother and all of our loved ones are in a better spot. They are taken care of. Caleb, one, and this is another thing that was before Caleb's passing, and he went through to Zion Lutheran Both kids did, Claire and Caleb. And they got a tremendous amount of faith, would you say, instilled upon them at Zion Lutheran. And this isn't a plug for Zion, this is a plug for God. But Zion is awesome. They have done awesome with my kids, because more times than not, specifically one night when we left the nursing home, my mom was just terrified to die, didn't want to die. And we got in the truck. I've told this a lot, but I'll say it again. We got in the truck, and Caleb looks at me. And Caleb says, Dad, he goes, I don't know why Nanny's so afraid to die. Jesus will take care of her. And I thought, yeah, good deal, Caleb. You know what? Okay, yeah. Well, now I live by those words as well as Mark's words that Jesus will take care of us. Because my son never lied to me. He never told me a story. I mean, we joke back and forth, of course, like dads and kids do. But the sincerity that was on that boy's face at that moment in time, and I kind of disregarded it at the time. Yeah, Caleb, sure. Well, now you fast forward, and Claire, she's the same way. I go to her with questions, and she knows them. And I guess the point with that would be your kids, your grandkids. When I see kids in church now, oh, that does me so good. That's you guys hang in there, because if something should ever happen and you're placed in the situation that I am, it's quite a peaceful feeling to know that your son or your daughter knew that Jesus is going to take care of them. And He's going to. He's taking care of me. He's taking care of us. I mean, I look at my wife out there and my daughter, and that day that happened, the second fear was my world is going to fall apart. And it hasn't. My world's gotten better. How can a person stand up here that lost what he thought at that time was everything, his son, this is going to be me, and say that it's gotten better? But it has. I mean, he's all right. I know he is. I mean, he hasn't levitated down the hallway or spoke to us, but if I told you people some of the little tidbits that have happened, the little oddities, not just this, it'd blow your mind. You may not believe them. They might be just a coincidence to you, but to me, they're not. It's a little wink from God that Caleb's okay. I mean, he's not okay. He's great. He's living a dream. He's where we want to be. I mean, isn't that right? I mean, that's where we want to be. There is a heaven and hell. I wrote that down last night. Things Claire and I were kind of writing some stuff down, because there have been some spots in this last year and a half that it's like the devil has, honed in on you, and you either have a humongous argument or a fight. But pull together, say a few prayers, because prayers work. Prayers definitely work. I don't know how many people after, here I am skipping around again. The devil thing, though, I do think there's Satan. If you lower your guard, he can get in on you and work on you. But God's a lot more powerful. Just pray, and He'll win. He has for us, for sure. You two are getting more teared up than I am. But no, yeah. Let's see, where are we at here? Oh, my ears and my eyes opened. I'm more in tune with things now. That might sound odd, but I know when I was a little kid and I sat through a sermon at the Catholic Church, and of course I was a little kid too, but even in adulter years when I would go to church, things didn't sink in like they do now. Now I don't want to miss listening to Mark or Casey. I don't want to miss it. because they have such more meaning. That's it just seems like he's talking to me. And if there was 1,000 people here this morning, I would be ecstatic, because I feel what I'm saying is not something that I sat down and tried to make up. It's real, and I'm living proof. We are living proof that you can make it through a severe loss and come out with a smile on the other side. But you have to have faith. You have to have the faith that but all of us together, Mr. Copley, Mr. Watercutty, wherever I've seen him at, you guys in Sunday school class have no idea how much strength you give me. I mean, you say I give you strength, but you guys give me strength. Mark, everybody in this room, Lowell Molt, George, just a pat on the back. There again, I feel that is heavenly sent. Heavenly sent. I used to, and I still do. It's more of a sin, I guess, to judge people. But I try my best not to judge, because you don't know what everybody's story is, I guess. And everybody has a good heart. Everybody does. Everybody in that I've come in contact with in the last year and a half means well. To me, that is that's God. That's love. That's love again. And yeah, it's just been pretty special. I wrote on here, I remember when before Caleb passed away, coming home at night. Oh, back up. The first thing I was supposed to say was the very first thing I was supposed to say, and here I got sidetracked on it, was the testimony. Evidence or proof provided by the existence or appearance of something. Well, that's something in my situation. This testimony is the evidence or proof of God. So, that being said, prior to Caleb's death, I can vividly remember at night when Joyce went to bed, or Claire, or Kay, all of them, and I'd sit on the couch thinking how perfect my life was. You just can't get any more perfect. What more can you ask for? I've got a good home life, a good wife, good children, a good job, a roof over my head, friends and family. I have always been blessed with friends and family, always. Caleb passes away. Oh, wow, what did I do? I mean, it seemed like the rug was tore out from underneath of me, like I'd done something wrong. Who do I blame? No. Get involved with the church, more people, more interaction with God. This is a hard sell, but I'm actually pretty close to being right back on the same spot I was. I can sit in the couch at night and count my blessings for what I have. I didn't think I'd ever get to that spot, and I got to it pretty darn quick. And I tell you that from my heart. That's the truth. That is the honest to God's truth. Do I miss Caleb? Now, this is where I might break down on y'all, because I miss him so much. I'd give anything to have him walk through that door. But he's not. Why would you? If you're in heaven, you don't come back. And I want to get there where he's at. And I would safely say that that's on a human side of life. I miss him. I miss him, just unbelievable. But then, if you go to the religious side, to the God side of it, I'm happy for him. So that's how I get through my days of when I do have that overwhelming sense of, oh, I wish, the lady from the memorial place called day before yesterday and his tombstone's done. and it ripped the scab off again. Like, wow, he's really not here. We're going to be putting a tombstone on his grave for our son. So I'm emotionally drained for an hour, but then I get to thinking, and I don't think, I pray that I get through that. God answers my prayers. Your son's okay. He's in heaven. He's with me. And then it's like the spiritual side takes over, and you feel all better. Or I feel all better again. And I really do. I mean, I look forward to coming in here this morning. I mean, I know at first I was like, I don't know. And then Casey called me out one day in church. He's like, no, you're going to be there. And then Tracy done it just the other weekend. Tracy, I'm like, thanks a lot, Tracy. But you know what? And you too, along with Mr. Copley and Mr. Watercutty, Tracy Dyer, the words that come out of your mouth when you speak up there, whew, right on. And that's what's kept me from, of course, I never was a drug addict anyway, but I had a guy tell me that after Caleb passed, he said, you know, go the Lord's way, because drugs and alcohol isn't the answer. But it would be easy to do that. It'd be easy to numb yourself, but that's not the answer. This is the answer. You guys are the answer. You people, this community. I mean, wouldn't you say, Joyce, Claire? You know, we've had tremendous amount of support, tremendous amount. So yes, I'm back to sitting on the couch, counting my blessings again, and thankful. Prayer. Everybody after Caleb passed, you know, said prayers. People that I deal with at work, people that I didn't even realize were that religious, come out of the woodwork to put their arm around me. You just can't make that stuff up, guys. You cannot make it up, and it works. It definitely works. I told Greg Moss this morning, I said, you know, when I walked in and I seen Greg, I told him, just last night when Claire and I was writing this down, because Greg threw his wonderful offer out, after Caleb passed, if you have any questions about, you know, God, religion, so forth and so on, look me up. I'll help you out. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be needing this guy. Last night when I'm writing this down, no kidding, Greg, no kidding, it come into my mind, you know what? I haven't sat with Greg. I was going to go down and sit with him on his porch and just talk. Not that I'm an authority on this, because I'm not. It's just, this is my testimony, so I'm telling you what I have experienced. I thought, you know what, I never did go down and talk to Greg. I still need to go talk to Greg. And Greg just was in my mind. This morning I walk in the door and there he is, and I said, you know what, I said, this is weird. I said, just last night out of the clear blue, I was thinking about you. And he goes, you know what, he goes, I was praying for you last night. Shazam. I mean, I truly believe that, because why would I think about Greg Moss all of a sudden? But he was thinking about me. Yeah. I wrote on here, you know, and that's something else. While I was writing this, Claire helped me make a little, you know, keynotes, because she listens in school, I think, and I didn't, and I don't know how to make PowerPoints and all that kind of stuff. But this happens a lot too, guys. She helped me with some stuff. I went and took a shower, and it's like, maybe it's the Holy Spirit, maybe it's God. They're all the same to me. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not a professional on this yet, but things fire in my head. Little, they're not little voices, they're big voices. Well, you got to write this down. You got to say this. You need to say that. And I got back out of the shower and I wrote 2 more pages of stuff. Thinking how good my life is. Thank God. Prayer is real, and there is a devil. There is an evil side. Prayer always overcomes it. We are all in this together. Help one another. I say this because this is what's happening to me. See a better path. with people who choose religion. Oh boy, that was a good one. I'll kind of close on this one. The people that are around me, even like Sandy and Scott Remmert, Lynn Whitson and Jane Whitson, they've lost 2 boys. And I don't think it's necessarily whether it's your child or your spouse or any loved one. I've been told that a lot of people feel that losing a child is the worst thing could happen to you. I don't know. I don't know if you could put a percentage rate on it. I don't know. I don't know if we even should. But I know that the people that are around me have all, Scott and Sandy Remmert, they're an inspiration to me. I told Caleb one time we helped Scott clean a tree up, and Scott and Sandy were both raking together and smiling and, you know, doing good. And I told Caleb when we left, and I did tell him this, I said, Caleb, buddy, I said, if something like that ever happens to me, I said, I'll be the meanest son of a gun in the world. I said, I couldn't smile like those 2 guys do, those 2 do. And here I am. And Scott and Sandy are just fine. I can't say enough good about them. And when I drive by their house, I pray for them every day. I go by their house every day and I say a prayer for Scott and Sandy, and I know it just bounces back off of their window, and it reflects to me and my family, because we're doing good as well. I didn't know Harold Schuler was a school bus driver. You remember Harold Schuler?
He was my driver.
He was your driver. Did you know he lost a son?
Yeah, he was out here by that.
Yeah, by Tomlinson Elevator. I did not know that. And his daughter, I'm drawing a blank now, Phyllis Hawk. After Caleb passed, there's a lot of people have lost kids. Mrs. Faggy Lip and his wife. I didn't write them all down because I didn't think I was going to go down that avenue this morning. But those people came to me, and Phyllis Hawk was telling me about her brother, and she knew of her brother's the car accident before her mom and dad did. And Phyllis, I mean, it was a couple, 2 or 3 months after Caleb passed, Phyllis says to me that she'd lost a brother, and she says, I'll never forget when I went home that day and I told Daddy that he'd been killed in a car accident. And he says, well, we've got to get to the hospital and sit with him. And she said, no, Daddy, he's passed away. He's dead. And she said, Daddy dropped to his knees and started praying right then. And I was like, whew, wow, Phyllis. And because I know Mr. Schuler, I knew Mr. Schuler. He had a pretty good outlook on life. I mean, he loved being around kids. And I guess where I'm going with that is, I think God helped him. I mean, if he dropped to his knees and prayed, and then the rest of his life, what I seen of it, I never even knew he had a child pass, and he struggled right on through it, and he lived a good life. God helped him for sure. God helped him for sure. Just as he's helping us. So that's my life summed up in about a year. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.